Right.
It's a truly fascinating exploration of interconnectedness. And speaking of the exhibit, the author envisions it as a labyrinthine experience, structured around the Fibonacci sequence.
Wait, the Fibonacci sequence, like the mathematical pattern found throughout nature?
The one and only.
What's the connection there?
Well, the Fibonacci sequence and its link to the golden ratio, it embodies growth expansion and this interconnectedness of all things.
Right.
So by using the structure, the author aims to create this multisensory journey for visitors, leading them through a process of unfolding awareness.
I am already captivated by this concept.
Yeah.
So what does this Fibonacci structured exhibit actually look like?
Well, to find that out, you're going to have to join us for part 2 of our deep dive.
All right, so we're going to delve into the specific poems and images that the author is proposing, including that galaxy in a dot.
Oh, yes.
The transforming gem.
The swirling veils.
Which is going to be exciting.
It's a journey you won't want to miss.
I can't wait. All right, we'll be back for part 2.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Alchimie della luce, trasmutazione della luce in coscienza.
I'm so ready to explore this Fibonacci structured art exhibit.
Last time we were talking about that, right?
Yeah, it sounds absolutely incredible.
Well, let's step into the labyrinth and see what the author has in store for us.
Okay.
How about that?
Sounds good.
All right, so the document mentions specific poems and images, as potential elements of this exhibit.
Yeah.
Where do you think we should begin?
I'm curious about the starting point of this journey through the exhibit. What's the first thing that visitors would encounter?
Well, the journey begins in a room titled The Origin of Light.
Okay.
And it features un'intera galassia in un puntino.
That's right. An entire galaxy in a dot.
The poem from the author's dream.
Yeah, where they envision those galaxies within tiny dots. That's a pretty amazing image to start the exhibit with.
It really sets the stage, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine entering a dimly lit room.
Okay.
And there's a single point of light shimmering at the center. As you approach, the point expands and it reveals this swirling galaxy contained within...
Whoa, that would be an incredible experience.
Right.
To see that vastness contained within something so small, it really plays with our perception of scale.
It does, and it reminds us that vastness can exist even in the seemingly insignificant.
Right, like we were talking about before.
Exactly.
The stone and the gem.
Yeah, and the author's intention here is to evoke a sense of wonder. To encourage visitors to kind of question their assumptions about reality.
I like it. It's like a cosmic wake-up call.
Yeah, you could say that.
So where do we go from there?
All right, so the next room in our Fibonacci sequence is called Emerging Light and Consciousness.
Okay.
And it shifts the focus to transformation.
Oh, interesting.
Remember those insightful comparisons that the author made about the stone becoming a gem?
Yes, and the desert dust transforming into manna.
Right. It's about how our perception and awareness can elevate the ordinary to something extraordinary.
Yeah, I love that.
Me too. And the author proposes 2 poems for this room.
Okay.
The first one is senso trasmuta, which means senses transmute. And it really focuses on this idea of perception as a transformative act.
I'm listening.
Picture this, okay? An image of a rough stone that gradually transforms into a brilliant gem as you gaze upon it.
Ooh, that's cool. It's like our attention, our very active observation can alter reality and reveal the hidden beauty within things.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Thanks.
The second poem is called Un fiocco di neve, which means a snowflake.
Okay.
And it explores this idea of the eternal present.
Okay.
So imagine a room filled with swirling snowflakes, each one containing a miniature galaxy, a swirling vortex of light and energy.
So each snowflake is like a microcosm of the universe itself.
Exactly. It makes you think about how much potential exists within each fleeting moment.
Yeah, that's a really cool visual. I like that.
And that's the beauty of this exhibit, as we've been saying.
Yeah.
It's not just about passively observing these images.
Right.
It's about experiencing these concepts on a visceral level.
Yeah.
The images and the poems, they work together to evoke feeling and understanding.
All right, I am fully on board with this exhibit.
Good, I'm glad to hear it.
Where to next?
So the third room is called Shadows and Reflections of Inner Light.
Ooh.
And this one takes a bit of a turn towards the mysterious and introspective.
That sounds fascinating. What does this exploration of inner light involve?
Well, the first element in this room is called swirling veils, which, as you might recall, represent the illusions or barriers that can obscure truth.
Right.
So imagine a room filled with these diaphanous veils, some opaque, some translucent, And they're constantly shifting and swirling, revealing glimpses of light and shadow.
It's like a metaphor for the journey of self-discovery, isn't it?
It is.
Like we're constantly confronting illusions, peeling back layers of ourselves to unveil deeper truths.
That's a great interpretation. And as we navigate these swirling veils, we encounter the next poem, which is Al della del bene e del male.
Beyond good and evil.
Yeah, and the author pairs this with a really remarkable image. A black lily with a blue heart.
Okay, now that's a striking image.
It is.
What do you think the author is trying to convey with that juxtaposition?
Well, the black lily, I think, particularly in this context, it embodies mystery and transformation. Mm-hmm. And then the blue heart, which is often associated with spirituality and intuition, it kind of adds another layer.
Okay.
Suggesting that true beauty transcends these limitations of duality.
So it's not about choosing between good and evil.
Right.
It's about recognizing the inherent beauty that encompasses both.
Exactly. It's a more holistic perspective, embracing the complexity of existence.
I'm seeing a recurring theme here in this exhibit. Mm. It's all about expanding our awareness, looking beyond the surface, challenging our preconceived notions.
They're picking up on the author's intention there.
Yeah.
Well done. And that brings us to the final element of this room.
Okay.
The poem Nel silenzio di Dio ascolta la musica del cosmo.
In the silence of God, listen to the music of the cosmos.
Yes, picture a space of profound silence, where you can almost hear the hum of the universe, the symphony of creation unfolding around you.
That sounds like a deeply immersive, almost meditative experience.
It really is, and what a way to end this exploration of inner light, right?
It really is, and it perfectly sets the stage for what I imagine is a pretty spectacular grand finale.
Well, you're right about the final room, the transfiguration of consciousness.
Yes.
It takes us on this cosmic journey through 5 poems and images.
This is where we get to the swirling vortices, breaking crystalline spheres, and the dancing biophotons.
All of that and more.
I can't wait.
Well, you'll have to hold on to that excitement because that experience awaits us in part 3 of our deep dive.
All right, so we're going to enter the heart of the exhibit.
We are.
Witness the culmination of the author's vision.
It's going to be pretty amazing.
I am so ready.
All right, well, let's take a quick break and then we'll dive into the final part of our exploration.
We're back and ready to experience the grand finale of this art exhibit, The Transfiguration of Consciousness Room.
You ready to have your mind blown?
I think so. Bring it on.
Okay, well, remember the exhibit follows the structure of the Fibonacci sequence, right?
Right.
So this final room, it features 5 poems and images that build upon each other to create this really powerful experience of expanding awareness.
Okay, walk me through it. What's the first step on this last leg of the journey?
All right, so the room begins with La lotta con l'aquila,
which means
the struggle with the eagle. Yeah. And picture this, a darkened space where a shadowy figure is locked in this struggle with a massive eagle. Their forms are swirling against a backdrop of stars.
Okay, that's a very intense image.
Yeah.
There's definitely a sense of conflict and striving there.
There is. What do you think the author is trying to convey with this struggle?
It makes me think about the challenges we face on the path to higher consciousness or greater understanding. Like, it's that part of ourselves that resists change, clings to familiar patterns, fears the unknown.
Exactly. The eagle, often seen as a symbol of power and transcendence. You know, it represents those challenges that we have to confront on the path to growth.
So it's a battle against our own limitations then, an internal struggle that we have to overcome to really evolve.
Precisely. And the author seems to be saying that this struggle, while it can be difficult, it's absolutely essential for growth.
Right. It's a necessary part of the transformation process.
It is. We often learn the most from our challenges, don't we?
We do. So where does this struggle lead us in the exhibit? What's next?
From the struggle with the eagle, we move to Giordano Bruno enfange la sphère cristalline.
Giordano Bruno shatters the crystalline spheres.
Yeah, and try to visualize this, a giant fractured crystalline sphere.
Okay.
Representing that limited worldview that Bruno challenged. And as you approach it, the sphere shatters, completely revealing this infinite expanse of stars behind it.
Wow, that's a powerful image of breaking free from those limitations.
Yeah.
Giordano Bruno was a true visionary. He really dared to challenge the accepted understanding of the cosmos.
He did, and the author is using Bruno's story to symbolize the courage it takes to embrace new paradigms, shattering those illusions that confine us and stepping into that vastness of possibility.
I love that it's a reminder that to really grow, we have to question everything we think we know and be open to new ways of seeing the world.
Absolutely.
So what comes after we've shattered these metaphorical spheres?
Then we enter this realm of pure energy and light with la danza cosmica dei biofotoni.
The cosmic dance of biophotons.
Yes.
Okay, now we're talking, imagine a space filled with these swirling points of light biophotons emanating from everything around you, pulsing in sync with your heartbeat.
That's the idea.
Now, are we talking about actually seeing biophotons, those tiny particles of light emitted by living organisms? Are you supposed to be able to see those with the naked eye?
Well, in reality, no biophotons aren't visible to the naked eye.
Right.
But the author is using a little artistic license here to create a visual representation of this interconnected,
right.
It's about highlighting these subtle energy fields that connect all living things, the invisible symphony of life that's constantly playing out around us.
So expanding our perception beyond what we can see with our ordinary senses to recognize those deeper connections that exist.
Exactly. The author wants us to consider these unseen forces that shape our reality.
It's amazing. I love how this exhibit keeps building upon these ideas layer by layer. It's truly an immersive journey.
It is.
What happens after this biophoton dance?
Well, the energy of that dance, it builds towards la fioritura dell'universo.
The flowering of the universe.
Yes, and picture a giant cosmic flower blossoming before your eyes.
Okay.
Its petals unfolding to reveal galaxies and nebulae, just this symphony of color and light representing the ongoing creation of the universe.
So it's like witnessing creation in action,
Right.
Not just as a single event, but as this continuous process of blossoming and expansion.
Exactly. The author is challenging that static view of the universe and emphasizing its dynamic, ever-evolving nature.
I love that. And of course, we're all part of this ongoing creation.
Yeah, we are.
This is incredible. We've experienced so much in this exhibit already. What could possibly top a flowering universe? What's the final experience?
The final poem, Cosmic Consciousness Expansion, takes us to the heart of the spiral.
Okay.
Imagine stepping into a giant, luminous nautilus shell.
Okay.
A symbol of perfect proportions and infinite expansion. And as you breathe, the shell expands and contracts, pulsing with every breath.
It sounds like an experience of merging with the cosmos, becoming one with that flow of creation.
That's it. That's the message the author wants to leave us with. This idea that we're not separate from the universe, but an integral part of it.
Yeah.
And by expanding our consciousness and embracing that interconnectedness of all things, we can tap into this infinite creative potential within us.
Wow. This entire deep dive has been an incredible journey. It's like we traveled through layers of understanding from the smallest particles to the vast expanse of the universe.
It has been a journey.
And now we've returned with a renewed sense of wonder and possibility.
It's been a privilege to explore these ideas with you.
This document, it's amazing. It blends art, science, and spirituality in a way that's truly inspiring.
It does.
If we could leave our listener with one key takeaway, what would it be?
I think it would be this. How can you, with your unique talents and passions, contribute to the expansion of consciousness? Whether it's through art or science or simply by living a more mindful and connected life.
Right.
Every positive action, every connection we make, every step we take towards greater awareness ripples outwards and contributes to the evolution of consciousness.
That's a beautiful message. It's a call to action for each of us to become conscious co-creators of a more beautiful and harmonious world.
That's the idea.
Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. Until next time, keep looking up, keep questioning, keep creating, and keep diving deep.